We are live.
I love our song. Like it just gets me so pumped about what we're doing.
Well, it's fits, I guess, what we're doing. Even though I'm more of a rocker at heart, but I listen to everything, so it fits
Listen,
what we're doing.
I have so much rock and roll in me, like it's almost scary. But
You gotta remember, I grew up with hair almost as long as yours, so.
oh wow, okay, he was a hair guy.
Yeah, back in the '80s in high school, '80s hair bands.
I love it. How cool are we right now? We're on our own new podcast.
Exactly. It's about time we did this. We've been talking about it for a while now, and it's taken a couple weeks to get it, but we worked hard to get it ready and going. So
yeah, you know what? When it works, and I think that this is an amazing thing to share with people.
Exactly. And I'm just typing actually in our Facebook page that we are live and putting the link in there for people who didn't see it earlier. So hopefully it brings more people in. And we've already got some people watching, it looks like. So
all right. Well, thank you for joining us. Share. Sharing is caring.
Exactly. And just a little housekeeping for everybody there. If you are watching us, don't be afraid to send some comments our way in the little comment part there, or ask us questions if you have any. And I'm sure myself or Sarah will be happy to answer your questions.
Absolutely. I'm pumped. This is cool.
So John, and if it looks like I'm looking around, I'm not ignoring you or being away. I've got the whole show going on here. I've got things going on this screen over here, and I'm making sure it's going on the live on the phone here too. So it's not that I'm ignoring anybody. I hope everybody doesn't realize that.
John is like producing the show, and he's using all of his technical tools to make sure that this is like airwave magic for everyone to enjoy. Like that's
exactly. I'm just the behind the scenes. This is all you. This is your glam. You're the host. I'm the hostess.
Oh, stop. No. You are the host, man. You are the host. Don't ever deflate your role of what this actually is. You are the host. Yes. And you've made this happen for us, John. So I'm so grateful. And thank you so much for inviting me onto this project. Like to even have the idea of doing this project with me is very humbling and it's flattering. And I'm just so grateful to be here.
Exactly. Well, it all started basically from my other podcast I do, which has nothing to do with fitness, nothing to do with photography, even though we're both photographers. And you were talking about possibly being a guest on there regarding this stuff. And it's like, well, it doesn't really suit that, but why don't we do our own and do something that does suit what we want? And that's where this came from. So,
and here we are. We're here for it.
Exactly. So I have to say cheers to the first episode, the first of many, hopefully.
Cheers to the first episode. And I am so excited. Like, thank you, audience, for whoever's watching, just for hearing us and for being a part of it. So thank you, John.
Exactly. And how come your glass is less in there than mine?
Well, I do small pours because I don't like to drink like tons at the same time.
You're smaller than I am.
This keeps me in check, right? So I'm not a huge, let's not pour a ton for Sarah.
No, that's okay. And I'm just going through my notes here, but no, I've been, like I said, you and I met through mutual friends, and it all started with another podcast you were on, and that's how we got to know each other. And then the funny thing is, one of my best friends from the industry that I've known for over 25 years that worked with me over at Muscle Mag ended up not only befriending you, but working for you.
Yes. Can we talk about it? Her name is,
by all means,
Carrie Lee Brown. Ms. Carrie Lee Brown.
The one and only.
She is the one to thank for this incredible union between John Butler and myself. And I'm just pumped. Thank you, Carrie, for everything that you've done in the fitness industry, really. Like, you were with Muscle Mag and Oxygen for so many years, and you really paved the way for a lot of people in the fitness industry and in publishing. And so with that, all these, eras have unturned in play and all of this. And then all of a sudden I'm, a photographer and I'm publishing these magazines, and all of a sudden, like, Carrie is my editor of these magazines. Are you kidding me? Like, that's crazy. If anybody, I couldn't pick anybody else that would be the more perfect fit for exactly what I do. And I'm just grateful. And John, you're the conduit for all of it. So I can't wait.
The devil. I got her book right here.
Yes, there she is. There she is.
And, yeah. No, well, I just think this is a great avenue to because everything's visual nowadays, and
Yeah.
it's a great time to be a creator nowadays, whether you're a photographer, videographer, podcast, or whatever. And this is an awesome way to showcase all the stuff that we do, especially the stuff that you've been doing lately with your magazines, which we're going to get into, of course, and with just everything with your shoots and that. What better way to do it than to come on here, show people what it's all about, and then maybe even bring on people that have something to do with your shoots and with your
Yeah.
magazine. Find out more about it. It's almost like a video magazine, really.
It is. I mean, it's definitely it's a tangible print magazine, but everything is going in so many different directions now. As we all know, in the publishing world, print magazines are becoming fewer and further between, and that's kind of sad, right? Like in
Mhm.
the era where you were back in Muscle Mag in the 90s, and when I was a fitness model back in the late 90s, like we would just get those print magazines. Like you just knew that they were going to be on the newsstands at stores. And now it's a completely different world. It's we're leaning towards a lot of digital media, but also, we can still have tangible magazines as long as we're going in the right avenue. And I'm excited for what I've got to bring to the table in that regard. I think that I've kind of regenerated something that has been simmering in the background for a long time.
Well, when I first met you and was learning more about you, that was one thing that really intrigued me. It was something that I was really, really into, was that you actually didn't do just a digital magazine like most of
Mm-mm.
them are. Because, like I said, I worked at Muscle Mag and Oxygen Magazine, and you look at some of those older magazines now, and only some of them are on news show on the stands anymore.
I know.
A lot of ones have gone digital, but you said, no, I know everything's going digital, but I'm going to have an actual physical magazine. You can get either way if you want. So you're doing with the technology, but
Yeah.
you actually have a physical magazine. And I love that
Yeah.
because there is nothing better than grabbing a magazine and leaping through those pages and seeing the nuance. I lucked out when I worked at Muscle Mag and Oxygen because I got to see them before everybody else did, because they all got shipped to our main office, of course. And even though I wasn't at the time working as production in there, I was actually doing a normal 9 to 5 job there, and I did the photography on the side as a freelance. Basically, the magazines would come in. It was actually my job to unload those trucks, put them on the skids, take them downstairs to our basement through an elevator there. And it was heavy. Like you would get like about 4 skids filled to the brim of these big 60-pound, 70-pound boxes, and we would have to hand bomb them because we didn't have a dock at the Muscle Mag headquarters there. We didn't have a dock there, so we actually
Really?
had to hand bomb each box one at a time, me and another guy, off the truck into the front lobby, and we had a skid there. Or actually, we didn't even have skids there. We actually just plopped them right on the ground there, and we would unload these skids. And then when it was unloaded, we had to count the boxes. And on the side, it would say how many were in it. We had to count, make sure all the stock was there. And as soon as we signed off on them, the rest of that day was me and the other guy opening the elevator, filling in as many as we could without going over weight on the elevator, bringing it down to the basement, unload it where we had a skid right there, and we'd load skids there. And then we had to go and put it on the thing. So the whole day was actually unloading these magazines. But then, of course, we'd open them up and take one out and get to read them before everybody else did, because we actually shipped them off to people who had subscriptions. We shipped them right from that headquarters.
That's the best thing that Bob had to offer. Honestly, it was just the abundance of magazines that were available back in that era. Because if you were into fitness, you were reading Muscle Mag. And that's just the bottom line. Like Muscle Mag was the icon of fitness magazines back then, at least, for male and female genres.
Exactly. And when I started there, I started in 1992 at the head office, and he only had Muscle Mag International. That was the only magazine he had. And of course, he'd written some books, and we had clothing there that they sold online, and they had the store upstairs too. So on the main floor, we had our store, and that's where they sold all the fitness products, all the clothing wear, all weights and machinery. It was basically a fitness store that you could go into and buy everything, the supplements, everything. And he had Muscle Mag International. And it wasn't until a little bit after that, he came out with Oxygen Magazine, when he hired Pam Cottrell as the editor-in-chief, the original editor-in-chief. Of course, Carrie took over after she left. And actually, no, Carrie was the third one. There was another one, I think, that came in, and then Carrie took over, I believe. I could be wrong. Carrie can correct me on that. There was a girl named Nancy, but I don't know if she was the editor-in-chief or if she was Carrie's assistant editor. I don't know. And then she came out with AHF, or American Health and Fitness.
American Health and
Carrie's
Fitness.
first editor-in-chief job, because she became the original editor-in-chief of American Health and Fitness. That was her baby. and that was a thing to compete Men's Health magazine and on the weeder side. And then he started coming out with
All
American
right.
Curves. I don't know if you were ever in American Curves
Yes,
or
I
not.
was. I was in American Curves a couple of times. Yeah.
Okay. And then it just went from there. And then after that, I'd left after that. So I don't know if anything else came out after that. I'm not sure. I left around 2001, not out of the industry at the time, but I just left Muscle Mag because Bob did so much for me, but he knew I wanted to be a photographer. And Bob was the kind of guy, and we both used Nikon at the time, and it was film cameras. And I would go to say there's a shoot I got to do, or there's a bodybuilding show in Toronto, the Toronto Championships, or whatever. He goes, okay, here. And he'd hand me his 7200, his like $1,500, $1,600 lens at the time. Said, here, you can use this if you want. And he would just.
And at the time, it must have felt like a tank because back
then. And so that's the kind of guy he was. Exactly. But that's just the man he was, and he would try and help out anybody he could. And
when we're speaking of Bob, folks, we're talking, for those that aren't super familiar with this era that we're talking about here, we're talking about Bob Kennedy, who formulated and started Muscle Mag Magazine International back in the days, Oxygen Magazine, American Health and Fitness. And was there anything else that he did or didn't do? I mean, because
no, exactly. He wrote some books too. He had some bodybuilding books that he had written on diet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he did.
Bob Kennedy paved the way for a lot of fitness personalities. If you were into fitness back in the late 90s, early 2000s, chances are good that Bob Kennedy at some point had worked with them.
And even before that, even in the
included,
70s and 80s. Yeah, in the 70s and 80s too, because he's basically, him and Joe Weider and Ben Weider, they were the staples of fitness magazines. If you wanted to be published, those were the three guys you got to get to know. Yeah. Everybody else came after that. Guys like Steve Bleckman, I think it was Iron Man, if I'm not mistaken. And you had a whole bunch of magazines coming out, but they helped pave the way, of course.
He paved the way. And in a sense, like, it still exists. Like, that way was paved for me back then as a model back in the late 90s. And then even to what I'm doing today, you know, in the publishing world, and still like bringing Carrie back and working with, not that she was ever gone, but, you know, Carrie in the fitness magazine world is definitely happening today with everything that she and I are doing together. So it was a legacy that he created, and it just keeps on going.
Exactly. And now I hope you started yours a little bit easier, because I know he told the story that when he started his magazine, Muscle Mag, back in, I think it was the late 60s, early 70s, him and his friend Johnny Fitness, who was the editor for so many years of Muscle Mag, even until it ended, I think. Well, ended and didn't end. That's another story, but it ended for a while. But he actually designed the whole thing in his kitchen at his house and got it all set, sent it to the printers, got it all printed. And the one thing he forgot to think about was distribution. So he said he was sitting at home, and all of a sudden the doorbell, or his door, rings, and he goes, and the truck's there with all his magazines. And he's like, uh-oh. And he said his whole kitchen was just filled with boxes of magazines, and he had no way of getting it out, how he was going to get it out to everybody. He had no distributor, no nothing. He just thought about making a magazine. He didn't think that far ahead. So hopefully you had a little bit smoother ride when you did.
My ride was very smooth with starting Bodyscape magazine back in 2018. I tell you what, because thank God I don't have to distribute the magazine. People can order it online. It's print on demand with how I do things. So if they want to order a print copy of the magazine, then they can just go to the website, bodyscapemag.com, or they can just search it on MagCloud, and they can order a copy right there. And the best part is it's a free read immediately online. You know, I don't ask people to pay for a digital version. All I want is to get the message out there of what Bodyscape is and what we're trying to do, and the crowd that we want to reach, and just create amazing photos for people that are just in whatever place in life that they are. And that, you know, I did this big, huge video marketing shoot today, and it was all about the epic destination shoots that I do in Bodyscape magazine and everything. And it was really cool to actually hear myself say the words about what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, you know what you do, it's up here, but when you write the scripts and you say the words about your business, like, wow, I do some cool stuff.
Exactly.
You know, and in today's world of publishing, where print media is so few and far between, I just love that I can offer a print and digital version to anyone that's working, and anybody who's interested in even reading. I mean, we love that.
Yeah. And I'm embarrassed because I've been telling you for over a year now since we met that I'm gonna get a subscription and get the physical magazine, and I still haven't yet. So
It's
I have to.
okay.
You got to get it in the stores here in Canada too. Get it in the Walmarts. Get it in everything, and that way I could just go pick one up. But I think what I need to do is get a copy of your very first issue,
Oh
and
yeah.
and then of course the issue of with you in it. That I think it was your 25th. Was it the anniversary issue or something?
Well, for me, it was an anniversary, right? Like
Yeah,
25 anything is an
yeah.
anniversary as far as I'm concerned. If you've made it to 25 years of whatever, or 25 editions or 25 episodes of whatever, it's definitely an anniversary. So for me, yeah, I mean, it was a monument. 25 is a great number. It's a quarter of a century. It's
Uh-huh.
a quarter of 100. And, the fact that we'd made it through 25 issues of Bodyscape is kind of a cool thing, given that I have no education in publishing or really photography for that matter at all.
Exactly.
I just took what God gave me and rolled with it, because like I've always said, I'm just a vessel for him. He gives me, I'm a downloaded vessel for the information that he gives me, and I just plug it into the world. And that's what I love doing.
No, I think, and I thank you for that because you actually helped me today because I was getting nervous about an hour before we were supposed to go on the air, and I had a
Oh,
client come in
right.
my
That
studio
message I
pick some
sent
stuff
you.
up, and all of a sudden, because I've been watching it all day, it's been saying this all day it was going to happen, but it hadn't happened. It said 1 o'clock, but it wasn't until about 5, 6 o'clock my time, Eastern time. All of a sudden, I just hear this huge noise outside. I look at, and it's pouring rain. It's thunderstorms. Where they're talking about possible power going out and power edges. I'm like, we got to go on the air in about an hour and a half, and I might not have any power in here. Like right now, I'm looking at the feed. You look amazing, nice, sharp, and my feed now. I'm hoping it doesn't come across us on to everybody else, but I'm actually kind of fuzzy right now. I don't know if it's my feed because of the internet signal here, but at least we're running. That's all I care.
We're
So
running.
maybe it
We're
makes me
running.
look better that it's fuzzy. I don't know.
No, you
But,
look great.
but we're here and we're rocking it. And so why don't we talk a little bit more about the magazine itself,
Okay.
Bodyscape, and how you got it started, why you started it, and what was the whole because you used to be a model yourself first.
Yeah. Right. So by complete, fluke, I don't know. It was kind of like I was a dare to take a dare on doing a Hawaiian tropic contest in Washington State in like 1997. Right. So I did it, and I won for the state of Washington. Right. Which was cool. And then I went to the nationals in Hawaiian tropic, which was, all kinds of women from all over the different states. And it depends on how big your state is. I think for Washington, there might have been 2 of us, but like for Texas, there was probably 12. For Georgia, there was probably 8. So there was hundreds of girls at this competition vying for the whole, Miss Hawaiian Tropic International title. And in that contest, I took top 12. I didn't take top 4, but I took top 12. And I was scouted out by a fitness agency, which was mainly like the Michael Scott agency, which are the photos that are showcased in the first edition there of the Bodyscape that I shared with you. So it was kind of interesting because I wasn't looking to do any kind of modeling at all, but this guy just had an eye for a fit bikini physique. And that's what I've always had. Like I've always had a lot of muscle. I've always been a more musculature, right. Yeah. Like that's all the Bodyscapes, right? So my stature and it's never been anything that I thought was ever out of control. But when I got the call from the agency, they're like, you don't understand. We can place you in so many different fitness magazines and this and that and the other, not, Hawaiian tropic ads, because I don't have that kind of physique, but we can do fitness. And I was like, well, all right, cool. Sign me up. Let's start doing some shoots. So we did. And then immediately after that, I was published kind of everywhere, like Planet Muscle, Muscular Development, Muscle Mag. Bob actually flew me out to Jamaica to do a whole shoot. I was actually with Tori Wilson at that time, and Amy Fadley was with me. And we did this whole shoot at Hedonism, which was this kind of like nudist optional resort in Jamaica, and I was a little bit shy, but at the same time, we got a lot of work done, and it was really cool to kind of go into the the fitness magazines in that way, because immediately I was just kind of granted access, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
hard to get in there. And
Exactly.
once you're in there, you don't want to, screw it up. So on the other side of things, I wasn't exactly happy staying at that place in my life. I was a little bit more controlled in my diet, and I was over cardioed, and I wasn't happy. And I just felt like, gosh, I just feel like I'm just a machine, just pumping things out. Like, I don't feel like there's any actual substance here, right? Although the photos were taken and they were good. I mean, you can see from past photo shoots that I was very small and I was kind of malnutritioned and maltrained. And that's not ever what I want for someone who attends my photo shoots at all. I don't ever want them to feel like they ever have to get to that place. So, on the good side, it brought me into an industry that is very, very, very hard to access.
Mhm.
And I was grateful and happy to be able to exit when I did. And then I went into real estate after, and I was, a digital marketer and all these things. But yeah, you can see here that, and these photos were taken by Michael Scott back in 1998. I think that a lot of these were Lake Tahoe specific. And I remember being there and I'm like, gosh, for some reason I need to be back here again. And then lo and behold, in like 2017, I did my own photo shoot there, which was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just there's a whole article in there about that time in my life, right? Where I was not in a happy space. I was in a relationship that was really controlled, and I was very insecure, and he threatened to leave me if I ever weighed more than 130 pounds. And I'm going to tell
Mhm.
you what, here I weighed more than 130 pounds. I am a stocky, sturdy girl, right? And muscle weighs more than fat. So I've always had so much more muscle than fat on my body. And the guy I was with at the time was like, I'm going to leave you if you ever weigh more than 130. And I was with this person for 8 years. And it was a real struggle on the escape level of that relationship. I was in it for 8 years. But then, I came out of it in 2001. And then here I am back in 2008. And I was just like, I'm in good shape. I'm going to do another photo shoot again. And I shot with this female photographer named Wendy from Satio Photography. And she really, really, really inspired me. She was the one that kind of made me say, man, I can create images like this of women. I can help women feel the way that I felt, because in 2008, that would have made me 37 years old. So I was 37 years old here. And this is the section in Bodyscape that is really, really cool to me, because I've overcome what I went through. And now I'm, just getting in front of the camera again for another little time, just to test it out, just to see. But at the end of the day, this is the shoot that wound up really inspiring me to become a photographer.
Oh, beautiful. You
Yeah,
look amazing in these shots.
thanks. I was doing so much Taibo. Oh my gosh. Taibo, like Billy Blanks and me were like best friends, and like
Kick some
all the
butt.
kicks and all the things. Like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. But yeah, thank you.
No, and so that's what got you into, okay, now you've been on one side of the camera, you're going to go on the other side of the camera.
Yeah. Just to
So
try
how
it.
long, well, how long, that was like 2008, I think you said, right? When you went behind the camera?
Yeah. But
And you
then
started Bodyscape when?
in the same year is when I just decided to start photography. That was 2008.
Yeah.
Bodyscape started in 2018.
So you had 10
So
years in between.
yeah, yeah. And I was just tired of waiting on the sidelines for the publishers to publish my stuff anymore, to be honest with you. Like, I was getting my work published
Yeah.
all the time. Planet Muscle, when Jeff Everson was alive, God bless his soul.
Yep.
He loved my stuff, and he used to publish me when I was a model. So that was like his light up story, was like, oh my gosh, Sarah, we used to run her all the time. And now she's a photographer, and oh my gosh, we're going to publish her photos all the time.
Exactly.
And then he passed a few years ago, you know.
Exactly. And his wife was one of the pioneers of women's fitness too.
Yes, Corey. Oh my gosh.
Corey,
And you know what? I've never met Corey in person. So Corey, if you're out there, I would love to give you a hug and just say thank you.
I'm the same as you, because she was on Monica's podcast that one time, and that was the only time I ever seen her in person. Like, I've always known her in the magazines, and I've been in the industry for quite a while now, since 1992. But I always saw her in the magazines, never got to meet her, and then I finally got to ask her or talk to her online there, and she's such a sweetheart, like such a sweet person.
That's all I've ever heard about her.
Yeah, that's all I ever heard too. So
yeah, well, maybe we'll have her on the show one day, John.
I think that'd be amazing.
Be a show.
I think that would be amazing, because then we have to get her into Bodyscape too. I think she'd be an amazing model for Bodyscape.
You just
to show that it doesn't matter what age you have to be.
You totally lit me up right now. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I think it's something we have to put in the works.
Corey, where are you? Somebody share this broadcast with Corey Everson, because I know you're out there.
I'll have to get my passport together, because I'll have to come in and maybe assist you on that shoot or something.
I'm just saying, you got to get everything dialed in, because I'm not going to Canada.
One day we'll get you here in the summer.
Maybe.
Although today or yesterday was hot for us, and it was about 30 degrees and humid, which makes it feel like 35 to 40. To you, that's probably like not as hot as you. It's probably between 90 and 100.
So, I mean, still, that's ridiculous, and I call it disrespectful. Like, it's so hot outside that it's disrespectful.
Yeah, but the difference between you and me is where you live, you get 1 or 2 seasons. I get all 4.
Yes.
You got to remember, in about 3-4 months right now, I'm going to be covered in snow. So, and it's going to be cold. That's when I'm getting down here.
I'll be spreading sunshine your way. You have to get down here. You've got to freaking get down to Arizona.
Oh, we'll come down for sure. We'll make it. We'll make a date of it. And so, okay, you start 2008. You start doing photography. You're starting to get published in some of the magazines. What happens between 2008, starting to do photography, starting to get into magazines, and you know what? Screw this. I'm starting my own magazine. I don't care how hard it's going to be.
It was not easy. And I definitely had to go through a lot of opinions from other publishers. But at the end of the day, you know how that goes, right? Like, it's just save it for something that really matters, because I don't care. I'm starting my own stuff. You've had me on pause, and my clients deserve to be on the pages of your magazine, right? Yep. You need to wake up. And it's what wound up happening was so many other photographers came in after me, right? Because this is when the beautiful glorified versions of things were coming out. Like, those photos that I created back in 2008 kind of changed the way that female fitness was photographed. It just did. And it was created more of a glamorous style. And the photographers were like, yeah, or the publishers were like, yeah, we want to run your stuff. But at the end of the day, there was a long line to wait in, because what I had established was what other new photographers were also trying to establish behind me. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so what was happening was there was a long list of people that were willing to pay to get their way in, and they were willing to, compromise just because they wanted to be known. They wanted to be seen. They wanted to be recognized. And I wasn't playing that game. I'm like, guys, it's not about that for me. If I'm going to have a publication tell me no, it's got to be for viable reasons, not because I have to wait in line behind the newbies.
Yep. I was getting that even when I wasn't a newbie, because I was competing against photographers in my era. We had guys like Jim Mentler, who I was a big idol of mine.
Yes.
Irvin Gelb.
Yep.
Alex Ordonte, Rick Schaff. Like, I was competing.
Which, by the way, let me give a little credit to Alex and Rick. Those were two really good guys that had spent time with me back in those days. Yes.
I love their stuff. Even Alex used to have his own clothing line there, Malibu Wear, I think it was called. And it was an amazing line. And so I was competing with guys. See, the difference was I was in Toronto, Canada, where Muscle Mag was and that. And these guys lived in Venice Beach, California, where all the bodybuilding scene is. And so they're able to get all the guys at Muscle Beach, all the guys in Gold's Gym, Venice.
Yes.
And take them in there.
Very accessible.
Very hard for me. One of my biggest guys that I idolized for a while there, he came out later on in my probably mid to late 90s. He was actually a bodybuilder with a twin brother himself, a guy named David Paul. I don't know if you never knew the
Remember
Paul
the
brother.
name. I remember the name.
And
Yeah.
he came out for a while with some amazing black and white, just available light, black and white, go out with his camera, take these bodybuilders, take these fitness girls out on like the Arizona desert, or he would take them to LA to like Lee Priest sitting underneath an underpass of a highway, wearing nothing but cut off jeans and holding a big, huge tire in his arm. And like just this
Yeah.
thick ass, amazing black and white photo. And then the fitness models, he had them look so beautiful, and they were just available light, black and whites. And I
Sometimes
loved
it
it.
doesn't have to be complicated. You
No,
just need to work with what's there because that's what's
artwork.
speaking to the
Yeah,
image.
art.
Yeah.
And so I was competing with all these guys. So that's why I wasn't as big as those guys were, but I had a little bit of advantage that when I did go and do something, as soon as I got back to work on Monday, I can walk up to Bob Kennedy, hand him over my sheet of slides. Cause of course, back in my day, I think I have some here. This is how we submitted ours to them, which had to look under a light table.
Yes.
And I would say, here, Bob, buy these. And then
I have books and books and books of those from
I have a filing cabinet downstairs full of them. So yeah, that I had that advantage. The only under advantage was most of the people I was shooting were local people or contests. So I did a lot of contest stuff. I would do the Arnold Classic, and I'd be able to get a press pass to go and shoot at the stage level there. I would be down there in the pits with guys like that, and Ralph DeHaan. I don't know if you ever met Ralph DeHaan or not.
Yeah,
really nice guy. And what was his name too? There was another one for Weeder. He had ponytail and glasses. Oh, it'll come to me after, but phenomenal. Him and Ralph DeHaan for a while were Weeder's main photographers. Can't remember his name, but I would sit in the pits with these, and I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, these are the guys that like, these are my mentors, basically.
Yes.
Like, these guys have been shooting these magazines. You're seeing their names beside these pictures all the time, and I'm getting to sit in this pit with them. Like, it just made you feel 100 feet tall.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
And on top of that, they were nice as pie. They would look at you, and if you had a question and asked them, they would answer it right then and there, because we were shooting film, so there was different ways of doing things. It's not like digital where you can see the picture right away.
Right.
So
you're guessing. You're guessing on your own instincts, and you're guessing on your own skill.
Exactly. And my very first photo shoot in a gym shooting a bodybuilder, I actually called up Jim Mentler because I'd met him. He said, if you have any questions, let me know. And I emailed him. He emailed me back, and I ended up calling him, and I was like, what kind of lighting do I need? And he helped me get the lights that I needed to get the shoot done. And so I think these were the guys that were amazing. And
yeah, you were in there in the trenches in the inception of it all, right? So
to me, that was the best era too at the time.
I mean, you were blessed by that. That's amazing. I feel like for me on this side, I'm blessed in the digital age of things, like how things are working now and how magazines are published and how people are receiving that information. It's definitely a different era than what it was back then, because I can honestly say that I've seen both sides, right? Yep. Rick and Alex, Rick Schaff, Alex Ardenti, Mitsuru Okabe were my three favorite fitness industry photographers that I had ever worked with in my life. And they all treated me very fairly. Michael Scott, yeah, we got beautiful photos, but there was a whole other backstory with all of that was just not fair to the models, and it wasn't fair to the industry. So it was all about the photographer, right? Yeah. Where I don't want people to feel like it's all about the content that I'm shooting. It's about them. Yeah. Right. So it should be about the person that's in front of the camera. It should be making them feel amazing. It should be making them feel like $1 million, right? Because we all have our stuff. And thank God what I shoot nowadays is not all fitness related. It's you can be any size, any shape, step in front of my camera, and it's all about just creating a beautiful image anymore. Like, I've done the fitness industry. I've had my stuff on covers. I've been in features, all these types of things, but I want my people that have commissioned me to do the work to feel the way that I felt being photographed back then, to feel amazing.
The way it should have been. Yeah, it's the way it's always should have been. And with me, I lucked out in a way, but I was not commissioned a lot of times for shoots. The only times I was is if I knew the owner of Muscle Tech, because he worked with me at Muscle Mag before he started Muscle Tech. And when he started Muscle Tech and he needed shoots done, sometimes locally, I was the one he would call in there. And so we'd go and do product shots, or some of their bodybuilders are before shots or their after shots working out. I remember doing a shoot for them once. It took 3 hours, and yet I only shot for maybe 5 minutes, if that, because the whole other 2.5 hours was set and prep, because it was their whole product line, and they were setting it up in a proper way on the table with all their shakes and their boxes and their chocolate and their fruits and everything. And the last part of it was, as soon as we're ready, get your lighting, make sure, take your Polaroids, make sure it looks good, because we can't put this fish in here until you're ready to go, because it's going to stink the whole place up. And sure enough, it did. We had everything ready to go. And then they took it out of the freezer. They brought it, they put it in there. We shot for a couple minutes, shot maybe 1 or 2 rolls of film. And that's it. We were done because we couldn't take the stench anymore, and they had to put the fish back. So like those were types of stuff that I was commissioning. Supplement companies, some of those interactive nutrition, and there was one out of BC, PVL, I think it was called, nutrition. They would hire me to do some stuff. But other than that, a lot of my stuff was on spec. I would have to go on my own dollar. I did many trips to California on my own dollar, and I would have to try and sell my images to try and make my money back. It was almost like a paid vacation. And I lucked out, because I don't know if you noticed, I don't know what it's like now, because I've been out of it for a little bit. But back in the 90s, it was a big community, the fitness and bodybuilding industry, that when, as soon as I called up a bunch of models, male or female, in California, said, okay, I'm coming out for this week. I'm going to be there for the whole week. Whoever wants to shoot. I would get people saying, well, where are you staying? And I'll be like, I don't know. I haven't got my hotel room yet. Oh, well, you're staying with us. And so I know one time, the first time I went, I stayed at a hotel. The next time, Lee Priest, I don't know if you know bodybuilder Lee Priest, but
Yeah.
he was living in Venice at the time. He's like, no, you come stay with me for the week. And all he wanted in return was me to buy him a burger after it was a burger after the Olympia that year, because I was going in like September and he was competing in October. And I said, okay. So I went, show up at his house. He hands me a key and says, here, you live here for the week. And I could come and go as my please. And it was amazing.
Lee Priest, like, on your friendship roster is kind of a big deal.
Exactly. And then the next time I went, I had Brandy Hill do the same thing. I don't know if you know Brandy Hill. She was a model back then, Muscle Tech model at one point, but she was a big model in there too for a lot of the magazines. And her and her husband said, no, you stay with us for a week. And then they said, oh, tell you what, you could just take us out one night for dinner. I'm like, okay. So we went out for dinner. We went for sushi around the corner from their place. And after it was done, they still took the bill. And I'm like, I'm supposed to pay this. He goes, no, you didn't know how much we were going to eat. Don't worry about it. So they just let me stay at their house for free for the week. So, and her and I did shoots and that while I was down there. So that's the kind of community and that this fitness community is, and the way it should be.
Well, yeah. And so I think with what I do with the Epic Destination shoots is I definitely try and generate the same type of community. However, this is like off the Richter scale when it comes to production and when it comes to everybody's personal investments that are being involved in these types of photo shoots. We're out here to break the internet, really, is what we're trying to do with the types of photos that we create. We're trying to make monumental memories for the people that come on the Epic Destination shoots and create photos with me, because I've got the best of the best hair and makeup. I've got the best of the best stylists that work with me. This is something that a lot of people never think is possible for themselves, right? But my mission is to tell people to get out of your box. Get out of your freaking box. Like, why is this unachievable for you? Yep. It's completely achievable for you. You know, we set the stage, and all you really have to do is show up. And this was the video marketing piece that I did today, was like just telling people, you know, I've got you.
Yes.
Book your shoot, show up. You've got wardrobe and styling. You've got world-class hair and makeup. You've got everybody at your disposal to make your images the absolute best they can be. I mean, we're talking like magazine cover worthy images on every single shoot, and not just magazine covers, but also billboards in Times Square, billboards in LA, billboards all over Miami. Like, those are tangible, possible achievements for people at this level. So to respect your era of when you were out there doing the fitness shoots and everything, you were called upon to do those shoots and create those memories for these people. And John, what a huge blessing that is for you.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas now I'm called upon to do that, but we're putting a whole lot of frosting on it, baby. We're icing this cake and we're putting some candles on this bad boy, and we're going to blow these candles out, and we are going to land magazine covers and Times Square billboards, and we are going to do all the things with these photos. So to work with you on this podcast is like seriously so cool, because it's like, you know, two edges of the fence.
Two worlds. Yeah, two different worlds at all. Because my
worlds.
era was totally different than what your era is now. And I'm hoping to get back into doing some of this stuff again. And now Epic Fit
magazine.
Now, what's the difference between Bodyscape and Epic Fit? Is Epic Fit what you started the Epic destinations through?
No. Epic Fit magazine. I've got some hard copies here. I'm just pulling.
And then we'll show people a little clip too of your Epic destination shoot there.
So I'll show the cover of, well, this is literally just the first one I grabbed. This is the 25th issue of Bodyscape magazine, which is where I'm on the cover, right? And this is just the edition to tell the story of the publisher, right? This really just talks about my story inside the magazine. And that's what this magazine is built upon, is telling your story through my lens. And I love creating these things. Now, Epic Fit magazine is for way more of, wait, where are we here? The fit physique. Okay. So like, for example, Sarah is not going to find herself on the cover of Epic Fit these days, but Chad Robinson sure did.
John won't find himself on the cover either.
John won't find himself there. Maybe he did 20 years ago. Maybe Sarah did 20 years ago, but not today. But Epic Fit is for way more of a fit physique. This is a production issue that's powered by Bodyscape magazine. So we consider this to be a special edition for Bodyscape magazine, because it only comes out a few times a year. So Epic Fit says it all. It's a very fit physique. Bodyscape magazine is kind of beauty, glamour, fitness, wellness, all of it combined in itself.
I love it. I just wanted to let people know, because you have Carrie editing both of those magazines, correct?
Yes, Carrie is editing both of the magazines, and she's doing a fantastic job. I'm so excited. She tells the story of these cover models like nobody's business, and gets in there. And it's so funny, because every time she interviews someone for the magazine, she tells me, I've got so much in common with that person. I've got so much in common with that person. There's never been an issue where she's come to me and said, I don't have anything in common with that person. She relates to everybody because of her business, right? Yep. And now she's, editor-in-chief of this other major magazine, Success Magazine. And
I think we lost you there for a second. I think we lost you're coming back. There you are. I see you now.
I'm here.
You froze there for a second. I don't know what happened, but you just froze.
Oh, where did you lose me? Maybe I was talking too much.
At the end there, you were just saying that she knows everything.
She knows everything about publishing, right? So for her to be my editor is just, oh my gosh, I feel so happy just to have her on. And now she's editor-in-chief at Success Magazine.
Exactly.
Which is a huge multimedia level magazine. And she's worked her butt off to get there. And Carrie, I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you both. You both work your butt off. I have two daughters myself. One's 15, one just turned 22. And if any of them could grow up doing the same amount of hard work and dedication that you guys put in, I'll be so proud of them. I'm already proud of them as it is, of course. But you guys are true pioneers for a lot of women out there, that because for a long time, especially in the bodybuilding fitness industry, and you'll be a big attest to this, is that it was a male-dominated industry, and to some point 100%. It may still be. But I mean, you're showing that, hey, I don't care. I can do this too. I can do anything a guy can do.
I can't put any thought in front of what I'm doing. Otherwise, that's going to deter my route, right? Like God has already determined what my route is, and I'm just a vessel. He travels through me. And since I've started, in life, really, God has just kind of guided me, and I recognize that. And so for that, I'm forever grateful, and only thank him for everything that's happened.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong. I'm looking back at all the different magazines that I knew in the 90s. Of course, we're looking at Muscle Mag. We're looking at Muscle Fitness, Flex, Muscular Development with, I forget his name now. Bill
Dobbins?
No, Bill Dobbins, good photographer there. No, it was Bill Phillips, was it, I think?
Oh, Bill Phillips, right.
Yeah, he started the muscle development, I think it was muscular development. Or no, not muscular development. There was a muscular development, but he started the one for his product line that he had. Muscle Media, I think it was called.
Magazine. And that wasn't that like Myoplex or something like that?
Myoplex was one of his products, but the company itself was called something else. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he started that. But if you're looking at the trend there, and even after that, a gentleman I knew from Muscle Mag worked with me at Muscle Mag. He was actually in the advertising industry, and a guy named Terry Friendo started up his own fitness magazine in Canada called,
I know Terry, yeah.
Was it Fitness Canada or something like that? Or I can't remember what it's called now. He's going to kill me.
It's definitely the Hot and Fit 100 that I've always submitted photos.
But he's got his magazine here.
Magazine.
But you see the trend I'm going there. It's
yeah.
Everybody that started these magazines have been males. And if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to this industry, I think you might be the first female to start a fitness or bodybuilding magazine.
No, that's not true, because Debbie, I can't remember her last name. Forgive me. She started Natural Muscle. Remember that magazine, Natural Muscle?
Yes, Bagri, Debbie Bagri.
Yes, Debbie started Natural Muscle, and that was
out of Florida
a long time ago, right? But yeah, my desire to start a magazine was literally because my publishers weren't running my stuff, and I was like, hold on, we're gonna change this game real quick, and I'm just gonna publish my own stuff in my own way and edify and lift these models the way that they need to be lifted and edified, and just show the world what we are all made of. It's not me. It's we all do this as a collective. We all do this as a team. It's not just me that makes this happen, because I can't do what I do without my teams. I really can't. Yeah, you can come here and shoot in my studio, which is, behind me, and you don't see a whole lot of it. But anyways, we've got some, backdrops and some chandelier action going on in there, but we can do some stuff here. But at the end of the day, it's like, we need locations. That's where the Epic Destination shoots really started, is like having these established, beautiful photo shoot specific locations that we go to capture these insane photos of these people that decide to commission me to work for them.
No, well, I think you and Debbie will go down as the pioneers of female magazine publishers, because you've made a name for yourself for quite a while now. So yeah, I'm proud of you. That's for sure. So why don't we show that little minute video or something of what people can expect if they're actually want to do an epic shoot with you? Yes. Let's play that. We'll come back after and you could talk more about it. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right.
I just want to hold you. I just wanna look into your eyes and tell you that I want you. You know you make me feel so alive. Can't stop thinking about you day and night. Love it when you kiss me, love it when we touch. Every time I'm down, yeah, you make me smile. You're the solution. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are the solution. You are the solution. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are the solution. You are the solution. Everything I needed.
I love that. Sorry.
It's so much fun.
It is so much fun. And it's not just fun for me, but you can see the light in everyone's eyes. It's like we're doing it, we do it. And it's different people of different walks of life and different shapes and sizes and, different missions with their photo shoots. And I'm just so happy and grateful to be able to capture it all.
Exactly. Makes me want to put on a wig and a bikini and get out there with you. No, nobody wants to see that. Don't worry.
Oh, you can do it, John.
Oh, nobody wants to see that.
Joking. No, basically come on set with me and, you'll see what's happening. You need to get that passport stuff situated.
We'll get it taken care of. And I definitely will try and see over the next year. We'll try and see if we can come to some of your shoots there.
I know. I would love that. What if we did a live broadcast from one of the
I think that'd be amazing.
Insane.
We could do it right from On Destination there.
Yeah, I love it.
Great. Although I'll have to slim up too. I'll have to get myself in shape now. And I got to go do the weights again and get back.
That's the misconception. Let me photograph you as you are. It's like Jesus says, come as you are.
Yeah.
Come as you are. There are no preconceived. You have to have a six-pack. You have to be in shape. And I get that a lot these days, right? Because listen, I'm 51 and we're getting older. And some of the ladies that I photographed in the past, they want to come back and shoot again. Oh, I got to get in shape. I got in shape. Well, that's because I was shooting you as a fitness model before, right? The first 10 years of my business was strictly fitness model photo shoots. But as we've all grown and as we've all evolved and as we've all gained our little, post 40-year-old weight, who cares? Just show up and capture the moments. Like, take the picture. That's the most important thing, is to capture those moments and take the photos, because we're not going to ever relive these moments in our life again. Like, we're never promised tomorrow.
Nope.
We are never promised tomorrow. And I want everyone to know that. So if you're contemplating or on the fence, whether it's shooting with John up in Canada, whether it's shooting with me on an epic destination shoot, or even here in Scottsdale, where I'm based, don't waste time. We are never promised tomorrow.
No, and that's very true. And I'm even looking back now. I want to get also just, I know we've been on here now 50 minutes already. We thought maybe we'd go 20 minutes, half an hour. I knew we could go longer.
Yeah, fat chance.
But just to show people that it doesn't matter, like you said, on not just size, but on age and that. And of course, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're the same age as you are, but
hang on. Machine Gun Patty has just
is
made
she
an
here?
entrance. Machine Gun Patty has come in to the
Oh,
play.
there she is. She's here.
She is here. This is Patty Wilson. She's my good friend and works with me here at the studio, and she's my super trainer.
And we don't hold it against her.
Yes, exactly. Getting me ready for my next epic destination shoot, right?
Exactly. See, I've got the dad bod, what they call the dad bod. Although I don't call it a dad bod, I call it a father figure. So
it is your father figure.
That's a great way to put it. I like that. It's my father figure.
I got 2 daughters, so it's my father figure.
Exactly.
All in how you look at it.
Wine?
Oh, she's going to drink your wine now.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, it's there to share. It's all good.
Exactly. But like I was saying, like, it just shows you that if you look at this right here.
All right. Who's that girl?
Who says you have to be a 20-year-old beach blonde type thing?
You don't.
To me, that's more attractive than, I don't know, our 20s.
Right. So Patty and I are the same age, right? So we look at things a lot differently. And bless Patty's heart, she works with me a lot on social media. She basically runs the Bodyscape magazine page on Instagram. Not only that, but she's been a really good friend since 2009. But
I was one of her first people that she shot.
Yeah, that's true. She was like literally one of my first paying clients back in 2008.
Awesome.
I'm not even kidding.
I love that.
We'll have to show Patty's first pictures on a next episode.
Compared to like the last one she did.
Wow.
Great.
Incredible. So, but this, right? This is what people want to see. I think it's fun. It's sassy. It's not too revealing. It's just showing your inner light. And that's what my mission is to do, is to just show your inner light, no matter what size you are. I mean, here I'm like a solid size 6'8". You know what I mean? But who cares?
No, you look amazing.
Thank you.
There are so many people that would love to look at you and say, I would love to look like that.
Oh, thanks, John. But Yarmo, my photographer who worked on this with me, he was the inspiration behind this photo shoot and photographing me in a way that he knows that is best for Sarah, right? Mm-hmm. So my coach, my mentor, I trained under him in Miami a couple years back. And he's really taught me a lot about the business of photography, which is imperative.
Exactly.
Like going to that seminar and without knowing about him and what he has to teach me, I don't think that I would be where I am sitting in this seat with you today. Literally, I have learned so much about photo shoots and photography and the business of it all. And I'm so grateful to Yarmo for showing me the way.
And see, I'm more now a portrait photographer where I am. And if I get more into doing this again, I'm going to have to learn the fitness business side again.
The business is tough. The business is tough because it's like, how do you stand out from a crowd?
Yep. Maybe I'll have to start my own magazine.
I think you should.
I'm just kidding. I don't think I have it in me right now, but like, look at that. Who could say no to that face? Come on.
I know. Is that not the best picture?
I love that. It's so fun.
It's this picture. So show Patty here.
Yeah, it's the back cover.
Oh, yes.
Like, that's a fun picture. That's what photography and modeling and fitness is supposed to be about. Fun.
Yep.
Right. It's not about everything showing. It's like, that's fitness.
Right.
That's
and this thing, it took about 9 minutes to shoot that, by the way, because my finger wasn't right. Of all things, like I had to make sure that my finger was straight because it kept going this way or that way or another way.
That is funny. And I'm trying to find what most people don't realize. And you sent it to me and I just got to find it now. is you are on the cover of FHM too.
I was. Yeah.
I believe you were. And I want to bring that up, but I got to find it now because, of course, when I want it is when I don't have it.
That's okay.
And that's
It's around there somewhere.
How did you not have it? What happened? Oh, the butler did it.
What
And
happened?
I can't remember how you sent it to me.
Oh, in your email.
Was it email? Okay. I'm looking in the wrong spot. That's why. I thought I had downloaded it and I was sure I downloaded it, but I will find it. But why don't you talk a little bit about it while I go and find it?
FHM magazine. What a trip that is to be on that cover. Really cool. I've been lined up with some really amazing people that have enabled me to be on the cover and tell my story through the FHM platform, which is hugely broadcasted all over the world. And it was kind of a show for my models. Like, guys, it's not just me that can do this. You can do this too. I mean, obviously there's some parameters involved, a certain look, a certain message, this kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's possible. A lot of things are possible for a lot of people, but they don't know it yet. And so that's what working with me kind of shows them, is that, look, guys, this is me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If I can do this, it could be possible for you too. FHM magazine, it's called For Him magazine. This magazine has been around for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the UK edition, which is distributed about 50,000 cycles through publication in the print world over there in the UK. And I also have access to FHM US, and I've got access to a plethora of different magazines that I don't feel right about talking about right here. But, if someone sees themselves on the cover of these magazines, then it's important that they reach out, because it is completely possible. Let alone Bodyscape magazine and Epic Fit magazines, the one that I publish. Like, this magazine is a completely different level, as are the other magazines that I'm working with too. So I'm just grateful. And I'm like bringing this home to my husband. I'm like, look, I'm on the cover of FHM. And he's like, what's that? Like,
well, it's something you should be proud of. Don't
he doesn't
share
know
it.
what it is, but yeah, I mean, he is very proud. He's very proud, and I am proud of it too. And so this is going to go on my wall of fame, and just how they've decorated it and how they have catered it towards me and my story. This is more of a story of influence, I think, than the Bodyscape magazine article.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anyone that wants this article emailed to them directly, I can definitely email it to them, because I'm getting my hard copies in 4 or 5 days, I think.
That is awesome. No, it is definitely something to cross off your bucket list.
Yeah.
Something that you can be proud of, because I remember FHM when I was in the 90s there, and I would actually call models and say if they want to do a shoot in that, and I'd say, yeah, we want to do fitness shoot, but I want to do more like FHM style. And
FHM style.
And they didn't know what that was at first, because at that time, a lot of the fitness girls didn't know what FHM was, because I think back then it wasn't fitness girls that were in it. It was more page 3 type girls that were in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And actresses and models, famous models and stuff.
Right. And so that works out in this era too. Obviously, I'm not a fitness model anymore, but I just wanted to showcase what is possible. And I wanted to showcase my crew that was on set with me during that time. The styling is done by Joey Rolone, and the hair and makeup is done by Lisa Opie. And those are my epic destination shoot, South Florida people. Like, that's our dream team right there. Okay. I'm the photographer, that's styling, that's hair and makeup. And so everything you see on the pages there in FHM, everything you see there on the pages of Bodyscape, they were in charge of all of that with regards to hair and makeup and styling. So that is what you get on an epic destination shoot.
Exactly. I think that's a big thing that people have to realize too, is because on some photo shoots nowadays, it's usually just a photographer. They might have a hair person, they might not. They might have a makeup person, they might not. It depends on what the budget of the model is and who's hiring you, or the public. If you're working for a commercial client, what their budget is, and they might just say, you know what, we'll just do our own, and then hope that you're going to give them what's called digital makeup, of course, because you get into Photoshop and you're going to do your stuff.
You can do that, but what a pain in the ass! Like, you just want it to be authentic on film, right? Patty, come and speak on this, because Patty was with me in Miami on the last shoot that we did there. she just came. It was her birthday during the shoot. And so we wanted to celebrate her birthday, but she was there to actually experience her real first Epic Destination shoot. And she was a huge help. She caught behind the scenes footage of a lot of what we did and was very helpful for the social media marketing. So speak on like your experience with that, like what that was for you.
Well, if I wasn't helping and if I would have been ready, I would have wanted to shoot, because it was like being pampered. I mean, you have photo shoots and they're good. You dress yourself, you have your makeup done or whatever, and you kind of have to take care of yourself at that point. But there you feel like a superstar. I mean, everything is paid for. Everything is, your outfits are all put together for you. Your makeup, it's like you're a celebrity during these things. I mean, it's worth every penny that you pay for it. And the people walk away missing it and wanting more. Like they can't wait to come back again, even if they don't need to shoot again. So it's really, I mean, it's a whole other level.
Exactly. And some people don't realize too, getting into main magazines such as Muscle Mag or any of those other ones, it's hard because you're one person out of hundreds and thousands that want to get into these magazines. So you got to make yourself stand out of the crowd. Now you can hire Bodyscape magazine or yourself to do an Epic Destination shoot where you get all this done for you. It's money well spent in my era, because you're paying for your own future. You're paying your own marketing, because what better marketing do you have than to send to one of these magazines and say, look, I had a whole issue on me out there on the stands that everybody's got.
Exactly.
I mean, what better marketing piece can that be for you?
Right, but then they can utilize it for so much more. I mean, billboards, for just growing their business, marketing, because there's so many different looks that you can get with the shoot, and having all different, 10 different people working on you at once. It's just, it goes by fast, and you just have so much content.
Yeah.
A ton
That's
of content.
exactly right. Yeah. I wind up overshooting the Epic Destination shoots a little bit just because we have that content, right?
Yeah,
so I love to shoot the behind the scenes stuff of Joey the stylist and Lisa, and them working on the model, right? Because that's very important content to have for the cover feature. So what I like to do is have a story about capturing the cover for each issue that I'm doing with the Epic Destination shoots. If someone's booked me for the Epic Destination shoots and they've got a cover shoot coming out, let's do a schedule like capturing the cover. How was this cover captured? What was entailed to capture the cover? And the behind the scenes stuff is what people love to see.
Exactly.
And the other thing is just the friendship and the camaraderie that you gain from doing this. Like you meet people and you become friends, not just during that little time span that you're there, but it's like for months and years to come.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely. Like I know I was on your, your YouTube channel, which you've got to update more often because you haven't got up there. But I was looking at some of, you have some there behind the scenes with Bodyscape magazine. You have some with, here's one, I'm just trying to look, you had about 4 of them on there, and they're all only like about, a minute long, 30 seconds long. And it just shows you a little bit of behind the scenes of what it's like to be a model for you and stuff like that. And 35 seconds long one with, I can't even pronounce her name. Is it Ekaterina?
ECAT?
ECAT?
I guess so. EKATER.
Ekaterina. Play it. Do you have it? Can you share it?
I have it here if you want to share it. Yeah.
She's one of my favorites. I was just talking with her today about another magazine that I can get her published in.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was looking at these today. So yeah, let me just put it on the screen there for you. It's I think it's this one here. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I know where that's at.
I mean, just stuff like little something like that gives them a good behind the scenes of what's all involved with it.
Backstory on ECAT is she's a professional tango dancer.
Oh, I can get it by the music there. Then that makes the music, put it in context.
Oh, she's amazing, and she's got a huge story to tell. She was on the cover of issue 17, I want to say 16 or 17. Yeah. So do we have that cover here? I don't know if we have the hard copy here, but yeah, she was on that cover, and it was all about just tango and her passion for tango. And she lives in the country of Georgia, and she is just absolutely fabulous. I'm like, when can we shoot again? But she can't come to Miami on this next shoot, so she's going to come back out here in January.
I don't know if she's on one of these ones or not.
Yep, it's this one in the second row from the bottom on the far left.
Oh, right there. Yeah. That was the shoot you were actually looking at.
Yep.
Right there on the left-hand side.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And there's all the issues of Bodyscape, I take it.
Yep. 25
so this was
down.
The very first one right there.
That's the first one, Jennifer England.
So I'll have to buy that one because that could be a collector's piece one day, worth lots of money.
Could be.
And then, of course, I'll have to not only get one of these ones, but I think I should get an autographed copy of it. I'll have to pay you and get you to ship me an autographed copy.
You don't have to pay anything. I've got an extra copy for you. Just send me your address.
You can write something nice in there. You can lie.
I'll think about it. What a fun podcast this has been, John.
It has been. It brings me back to my old days of having hair and walking around with a camera. The difference is I didn't have a computer screen or a little screen on the back of my camera to see what everybody was doing.
But you do now.
I do now. And I enjoy it. And I enjoy the newer ones. And if you want, I don't know if I do have it here. I thought I got rid of them all because we were talking. I think I closed everything off, but I see it here just to give everybody kind of the difference in perspectives.
Yeah, sure.
That was my very first published fitness picture ever.
Oh, how funny.
You see Bob Kennedy there?
And right there, that was the picture. It was an 8x10. And then there it is right in the magazine. My first ever published picture that got me into photography. And I don't know if you know Marla Duncan. That was Marla Duncan. She was a big pioneer in women's fitness back then. She had the best glutes in the industry at the time, as they said. And then Debbie Crook and Lee Apperson. And what it was is Robert Kennedy used to have what's called Star Weekends. And he used to fly fitness models and bodybuilders that you see in the magazines into magazines headquarters for people can come. And you can see down here, they'll sign autographed pictures to people. They'll answer questions for them, dieting things, anything they wanted to ask. And because some of these people, these were their idols. They read them in the magazines all the time.
Yeah.
So they get to meet them in person, like going to an Arnold Classic or going to the Olympia.
Those days.
Exactly. Yeah. So he used to fly them in. And I remember having my camera there, and it was just a little Minolta all manual film camera. And I'm taking some pictures. Bob walks up to me, he goes, if you get any good shots, let me see them. Maybe I can use any. And that was one of the ones he bought for like $25, I think it was. And he put it in the magazine, and that got me hooked right there. So that's my big history of being published. There's my Trish Stratus picture.
That's Trish Stratus.
That was for Cardillo belts.
And I'm telling you, I love Steve Cardillo. Steve and I go way back.
Yeah.
And Trish, if you're listening, you need to come to an Epic Destination shoot so that we can photograph you.
Steve with his Boston accent.
With his Boston accent.
Boston accent.
Steve
I think he's back living in Boston again, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's like northern Massachusetts.
Yeah, same area basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was she had called me up and said, I got this belt that Cardillo made. He needs pictures of it that we can use for the calendar. And I said, okay. So we actually set that backdrop up in her basement of her house. She was living in northern Toronto at the time. And just started shooting away. She had the bathing suit that matched the color, the purple color of it. And if you watch in wrestling, she wears her Stratisfaction Guaranteed belt all the time when she was wrestling. Yeah. She would always have it with her. And that became her slogan.
Of course.
And a couple of the bodybuilders that I was shooting, they're not great scans. So you have to forgive the...
This looks good. It looks good to me. Mm-hmm. Does it look good to you?
That's when I was staying with Lee at his house in Venice there. And he said, we went to go do a workout with him. This is just available late at World's Gym there. And I brought him a t-shirt, tank top with Muscle Mag Toronto on. He's like, you want me to wear that for it? I'm like, sure, go ahead. Because maybe Bob will buy it if it has that on it. So he did buy some from it. So, and Dorian Yates came to do a seminar. And this was a gentleman I did for Muscle Tech. I don't know if you know Dave Palumbo.
Yeah.
That was a cover we did in Detroit. And that was funny because we were in the ruins of Detroit. when we shot that, and it was after a bodybuilding show, and we had people that looked like they lived in the slums come in looking for us and wondering what we were doing with all this camera gear. Then when he walked, he didn't want nothing to do
It's
with it.
huge there.
I'm glad he was there because I was just a little skinny white boy from Canada sitting here in Detroit slums and with all this expensive camera gear, and then all of a
You
sudden,
needed that protection.
yeah, they saw him. They didn't come near me. So this was Amo Height that I shot a couple times. This was when she had dark hair, and this was in Colorado. These ones here. That was in Flex magazine. Excuse me. That was in Flex magazine on the bottom left there.
Beautiful.
Who is that?
Available
Randy Hill.
sunlight.
Yeah, no, yeah, mostly available sunlight with reflectors because this was film days. We didn't do a lot with strobes at that time outdoors.
I love how those days had
But
like
they
this.
still look good. I mean,
They look great, but they had this like permanent golden hue on them.
Yes. And then I used the gold side of reflector to match it too. So when
Yeah.
it bounced back in, it still had that golden
Exactly.
hue. And there was a picture like this. I think it might have been this picture or another one of Brandy that almost made the cover of Oxygen magazine, and it got beat out by a Monica Brandt shot. So I guess I can't complain because she was the one back then, of course. And then, of course, there I am at the Arnold Classic, and there's Carrie right there.
Did you have hair?
I had some hair there, yes. I actually had hair as long as your guys way back when I was younger. And that's my friend Stacy Lynn. I don't know if you remember
Stacey
Stacy from
Lynn.
Muscle Mag.
I used to idolize Stacey Lynn. She was amazing.
Fantastic. And we're still friends to this day. We talk all the time.
Stacey, if you're listening, hi. I was a fan back in the day. I would love
Oh,
to
she'll
photograph
love
you
that.
at some point.
And there I am staying at Lee Priest's house that one week that he told me, here, you're living here for the week. I said, okay. So we were actually looking online there. He had online email thing or chat line things that he was watching, people making fun of him and bad mouthing him. He was just sitting there laughing at them. He didn't care. And see, I have long hair there. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
See if I can grow it up a little bit. But I
That's-
have long
Look at
hair
you.
That doesn't even look like you.
with my 1970s porn stash going there.
Oh, bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Right? Well, between
Yeah,
that
and this was Rob Fortney. I don't know if you know Rob at all. He actually was known as the Fortress, and he actually shaved his head. He became the assistant editor of Muscle Mag at one time too.
Is this the Rob you were talking about when you and I were speaking the other day?
I don't think so. I don't know what we were talking about.
Rob was going to come by your place, and I don't know.
Oh
something.
no, this was a different guy. No, this was a totally different guy. And there I am with Vicky Pratt and Amy Lynn. She was a Michael Scott girl too, I think. Amy.
Yep.
I know I look like a dork in those pictures. And that's when I was staying at Debbie Crook's place with her and Mandy Blank. Rest in peace, Mandy.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Lost a good one there. And then my good friend Tiffany Remley, another Michael Scott girl.
Yeah.
So that's my little claim to fame, I guess, a little
There's
bit.
a lot there. There is so much history there. Like the names.
I tried to find some of Muscle Mag issues, but I couldn't
so-
find any.
Yeah.
They're all back
Well,
at my parents' place.
I'm so happy to have done this episode with you, John. And I'm really hoping that we can do more and
Oh, we will.
talk to our audience a little bit more about everything that's going.
Definitely.
And Patty can be a co-host. And
Definitely. And we'll bring
I'll be more
Carrie
prepared
in
next
next
time.
time. We'll get Carrie in here next time too.
for sure. For sure.
And then I think we should just start bringing on some of the past models, and we can bring on some of your makeup and hair and stylists, and let's get to know what's involved, because let's get people wanting to do these, because you have so much to give. And I think that this is a great way to do it. So, and the only way they're going to be educated and know how to do it is to be coming here and watching these. So
Absolutely.
Let's get as
Education
much
is
information.
key. There's a lot there.
exactly. So I think we've taken them long enough tonight. We've been on there for almost an hour and 15 minutes.
Whoa.
What?
And that's a great first episode, considering you were saying, oh, maybe 20 minutes to half an hour might be.
That's what I was
go.
thinking. I mean, because in past experiences, it's been way too drawn out.
Exactly.
But I'm just, hoping that the ears of the people that heard us, like, just we're enjoying the episode. And that's all I want, is for people to enjoy the time that we spend together.
Exactly. And if anybody is watching this in the replay, because this is going to now archive on the YouTube channel, it'll stay on there. We'll put a little clip in the Facebook page and let people know where they can go see the whole episodes and stuff. But if you're watching it, don't be afraid to still ask questions in there, put some comments in there, and just put hashtag replay so we know it was during the replay. And we'll get back to you as best we can and try and answer every question that we can. And let us know what you want to see on this, because we'll bring more of these out here, and let us know what you want to see.
Show us what you want.
They'll be saying less John and more Sarah.
More Patty. No, I'm kidding.
More Patty.
Well, Patty, there you go.
She's
Soon
also
it'll be
known
the
as
Patty and
Machine Gun
Sarah
Patty.
show.
Machine Gun
Yeah.
Patty. I guess I have
Machine Gun
I have a
Patty.
new nickname.
It'll be on set with Sarah and Machine Gun Patty. I'll just be in the background.
Exactly. I'm just still Sarah, but she's Machine Gun Patty.
All right, I need to find out where that name came from, but
Sean.
That's a whole
yeah.
nother
Sean.
thing.
that's
California.
right. Yeah.
Sean dude in California,
Yes.
my longtime life friend of 27 years. He coined her Machine Gun Patty.
Because when I want to get something done, I'm just like,
yes.
I love it. I love it. And I think we've done enough tonight. So
I think so. Thank you,
I
John.
say- and I'm going to raise, I still have my wine. You probably don't, but I do.
I do. I still have some wine.
There you go.
Raise a glass
Cheers
to
to the
you,
first
sir.
episode.
cheers.
Cheers to the first episode.
Brought to you by Pinot Grigio by John A. Butler Photography.
There you go.
Show the label.
Oh,
Show the label.
Does he really have?
He has
really?
his own little
Hey,
blend.
well then we need to have some next time so we can.
Well,
Oh,
he's
I'll
gonna
have to
do
send you one
that.
down. I also usually have a nice Chilean Merlot too. So I'll have to
Nice.
send you some down so you guys can share it.
Oh, would love that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh my
I'll,
gosh.
I'll have to get you. I don't know how I can get across the border, but we'll try.
Eventually,
I think you can.
YouTube will fund that.
I'll be arrested for bootlegging or something.
All right, guys. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for tuning in. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
your viewership.
Until next time.
Until
See
next
you later.
time.
Bye.
Bye.